actually dropped. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize I could do that. I didn't realize those options were available. There's just that inner peace that comes to the surface that, again, there's hope, there's possibility. The days are coming. The money runs out before the month does. That's what it's all about. Not about perfection, not about the pressure, simply just the hope.
We've all been there, feeling stuck in the grind, chasing that freedom we're aching to find. But what if the answer was clearer than you knew? With numbers and strategy, we'll walk you through. No more shame, no fear inside. We're turning.
Welcome to Fearlessly Debt Free. I'm Lisa Marie Heinz, and I'm so glad that you're here. This conversation today is especially close to my heart because every single week I get new opportunities to meet and walk alongside amazing men and women and families. And this week is a little bit more special because the topic went off the rails a little bit and then came back in. But before we get started on our conversation today, I always like to say thank you for joining. I know that it's busy. Life is busy, but it's important that we always keep our mind filled with different opportunities and different things that could potentially change the future. When we talk about debt and we talk about things that don't feel comfortable, try to change that mindset and try to make it more comfortable. I love working alongside people all the time. There's the most unique financial situations, and I truly love working with clients. I love hearing their stories. I love getting to understand their situation, getting to know them a little bit better. It's more than just sitting and having a conversation. Of course, we talk about the numbers, and mainly the goal is to help, to give hope and to help others to see what maybe they can't see for themselves and to shed new light. So if there's one thing that I've learned very quickly, it's this: in every situation is different. And I laugh because even in the past few weeks, I've been working with some clients, and not to laugh at the situation, just to laugh to say, oh my gosh, no situation is the same. I like to think about snowflakes, right? They say no snowflake is the same, similar to our financial upheaval, especially when it comes to finances and debt. We do have many options. There's always hope, and that's the great thing. I know that for me, every time I wake up each and every morning, it's okay. It's a new day. What are we going to start and what are we going to do today to make a difference? So when you wake up in the morning and you have that mindset, you can look at situations and scenarios differently. It's fresh. It's a fresh new start. So whether it is the morning, whether it is the new week, whether it is the new month, it's really important to take a step back and to understand the amount of abundance and the amount of blessings that are in our lives and to take on that new approach with that healthy feeling. But today's topic is one of those possibilities. You look at situations and you think, okay, I have a new strategy. The strategy is not always a one and done. It could be a very long-term plan. And in many cases, we get into situations that didn't happen overnight, but we have the ability to look at wanting to solve those situations very quickly. And sometimes it does take a little bit of time, of course, but the approach is always from a compassionate position, thoughtful options. When income is limited, we have opportunities to look at different scenarios in each and every person's different situation. And sometimes it does feel impossible, but when you do talk about it, when you do open up, it becomes a little bit easier because you have somebody to bounce things off of. And as always, I want to remind you when it comes to these finances and things that I talk about, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a banker, I'm not an attorney, but everything that I do and everything I share is for educational purposes only. We hear that a lot, but it's true. It's for educational purposes. And you should always consult a licensed professional before making big financial decisions. My role is simply to show you the possibilities that some people may never talk about or you may not be aware of. And it's amazing to know that there are things that you sometimes have to look outside the box to see if they could be a potential opportunity for you. So this time I want to talk about one of my clients. Fully retired, owns a few properties outright. So free and clear, no mortgages, no debt on those properties. Beautiful homes that this client has. There is hard-earned equity in those homes. And once retirement began, the monthly income had dropped sharply and their retirement benefits had not yet kicked in. So my client found themselves in a monthly deficit. So there was quite a few dollars that was negative at the end of the month, and that's never comfortable for anyone. But with a little bit of investigation and a lot of questions, we found out that there was a lot of equity there. And not because of coming into a scenario where the monthly payments and obligations were in a deficit each and every month, it wasn't because of irresponsibility, simply because of the retirement income hadn't quite been matching up to the cost of living at this point. Client didn't want to drain any of the savings accounts, didn't want to turn to high interest credit cards. Clearly, that's a great move. And let's not forget the desire to not want to burden the adult children. So there's always that mindset as well. The urgent need in this case was to find a way that the client could breathe. So can you relate? Anybody listening to this right now would think, oh my gosh, here the holidays are coming. The money runs out before the month does. If you can relate to that, you're not alone. And I always say that each and every time that I get in front of either a client or in front of the camera here to talk with you, you're not alone. It's the statistics. I can't go into statistics right now because I've done it over and over again. You're probably tired of hearing me say the statistics, but it's just understand and know that you're not alone. So we're going to move on now and talk about what was discovered with the conversation that we had. We had to explore one possibility. Now, this isn't to say this is the only possibility. However, when you look at a place where there is equity that you didn't really understand that you had, need to know that it's not always the main plan. It's not always a permanent solution. It's just a tool that could be used for a temporary situation, a tool that could provide stability until maybe the retirement funds kick in as they are promised. So we talked about speaking with a local credit union or bank about a HELOC, home equity line of credit. HELOC is something that could always be very strategic. It's used in all kinds of ways, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But it primarily means that you take the equity from a property that's completely paid in full, has great equity because the cost is much higher than what you paid for it, and you take a small percentage of that property's value. And when you take the small percentage of that property's value, it turns into a very unique type of a borrowing line of credit. You only get interest charged on what you're using, not the whole thing, not the maxed out potential that you have in that HELOC. But it sits there dormant until you use it. It's a great tool to be used for emergencies. In this situation, it's like a gap. It helps to fill in the gap when there's stress. When you have a lot of stress on your shoulders, yet you're sitting on a nest egg, it's something to really consider. Of course, again, you'd have to speak to a professional, make sure that it's done properly and that you understand all the rules. And we'll go over the pros and cons in just a moment. So you're going to use that as your gap. Typically, I like to suggest it's a local bank or a credit union just because their interest rates might be a little bit lower. It certainly isn't going to be as high of an interest rate as a credit card by any stretch, and it isn't going to be as low as the interest rates were a few years ago, but it's not undoable. When I was talking about this HELOC, it was, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that in my situation. So we want to talk about it being a safety net. And let me also say that the HELOC is used strategically. There's many possibilities for it. I know a lot of people that use them for other reasons, and we'll go into that in a little bit as well. So keep in mind that retirement often creates a transitional season. You go from doing to, oh, we get a little breather here. A season where income is sometimes slowing down before all benefits start to begin. So there might be that little time adjustment. The expenses continue. These are some of the things that you have to think about. Medical costs continue. Maybe there are home repairs that have to happen. And seniors specifically in this case, they feel scared to touch their savings. They've been saving for so many years, and that has always been the mindset of a nest egg. It's hard sometimes to jump out of that mindset and then start to spend. We get to a point in life where we save, so we call those our saving years, and then we get to a point in life when we have our spending years. So when you work with a financial advisor, for instance, they can definitely spell it all out for you, let you know exactly what that looks like. But again, there could be a gap. There could be a time when you need to fill in those gaps. And that's where HELOC can be very instrumental. HELOC, again, could be a safety net. It could give you that breathing space and a temporary relief valve. You think of just that mindset of a relief valve. Oh my goodness, that feels so good. The bridge that will be able to help you go from one to the other until the income begins. Some seniors never even end up using it, but it's always great to know that it's established and it's just sitting there, that HELOC. This episode is brought to you by Fearlessly Debt Free. Do you have great income, but the debt just doesn't seem to be going down fast enough? Just know that you are not alone. At Fearlessly Debt Free, I help people just like you pay everything off. Credit cards, loans, even mortgages, in half to a third of the time, for half to a third of what you owe. And no, this isn't budgeting, it's not debt consolidation or bankruptcy. It's math, it's strategy, and it's automatic, and it works. How would it feel to be completely debt-free and to start building incredible wealth much, much faster? Schedule your free Debt to Wealth discovery call today at fearlessly.debtfree.com and take your next steps fearlessly. With no intentions of being used, you have it as an emergency. It's very quick to get your hands on it. When you establish that HELOC, sometimes it does go through pretty quickly. Sometimes it takes a little time. So once it's established and it's sitting there, it could just be laying dormant until you use it. You just have that feeling that is there and feeling that if I need it, I have it. Here's something that many people don't even know. If the home is even sold, that HELOC gets satisfied as well. Because you're only borrowing a small percentage of it, you want to make sure that the equity is available to pay off that HELOC once the home is sold or the property is sold. And that brings huge emotional relief. When you're in your spending years, that might not be such a bad thing because now you're able to use that equity that you've built up over the years. And when I speak about HELOCs in this context, I'm talking about a portion of the equity. I cannot stress that enough. You can't get the whole equity, but you can get a portion of it. Just enough for, again, those emergency home repairs, maybe unexpected medical bills, maybe a couple of months of a temporary shortfall, or maybe there was a crisis before the benefits were released. It's not about using the home as a piggy bank. It's about protecting the home and saving in the retirement years is what's going to help you to see that a little bit more clearly, because again, that's the time that you want to spend and not save. You want to enjoy what you've worked so hard for all these years. This is important. A HELOC is just one of many strategies that we can explore together. It's not the only option. It's not the long-term plan. It's the ultimate solution at the time. In fact, most people that I work with, I find that more of the life-changing results through the algorithm that I work with. So that's even more beneficial. But in a case where they may not have any debt at all, that may not be the option to move forward with. So the algorithms, as great as they are for Fearlessly Debt-Free, they're amazing, yes. But for many people, this algorithm slashes the debt timeline dramatically. And I've said over and over before, for instance, your mortgage can be paid off in half the time or the third of the time. Credit cards, same thing, half to a third of the time. So just think about what that could look like in your bank account if you were to go down the road and consider the algorithms. It saves thousands and thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that always blows my mind each and every time. And this is where the real transformation happens. When you do become debt-free, life is great. You have the ability to take all the money that you were putting towards your debt, now put it towards your savings and put it towards your growth. And then you get to that retirement age where those things are all paid off. And now you've got those nest eggs that you can then enjoy all the work that you've done over the years. This is when you breathe again. This is where you move towards an abundant future with confidence. And it is beneficial with the algorithms to put it into place for clients as part of their strategy, yes. But again, it's not for everybody. Every situation is different. And that, of course, is why we have a discovery call to see exactly where you land, what can be done, what's available to you, and what strategies could work best. And I love working with people along this journey. And each person is different. No two stories are alike. And the more that I do this, that's the one thing that blows my mind each and every time. And the nice thing is there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope. And there are things that can be done to help you to move forward. So let me talk to those of us who might be helping aging parents or family members. Many of my clients are in the season right now. They're navigating mom or dad's finances with love and compassion. And sometimes that's hard to do. And the feelings are very unsure. They don't know what's happening or what to do next. Your parents may be holding their struggles to themselves. They're not really telling you what they're like because they don't want to worry you. Or they may be feeling embarrassed, or they may be feeling like, oh my goodness, I should be doing better than I am right now. And that's okay. But having the opportunities to talk about it is really powerful because they may not know that they have strategies or potential to do different things that can help them dramatically. This strategy can be a gentle option to help them breathe again until things stabilize. I'm going to go through the pros and cons of the HELOC, like I mentioned earlier. Some of the things that a HELOC can do is to reduce fear. It can protect savings. It can prevent credit card use, can give you dignity and give you peace of mind, just having that sitting in the background. And if needed, pairing that with an algorithm, if that is something that is warranted, absolutely. It could be astronomically beneficial to pair a HELOC with the algorithm-based programs that I do. It's amazing. Remember, finances are not just numbers. They're emotional and they hold memory. There's fear associated with it. There's pride, responsibility. And for many retirees, the worry of running out of money sits quietly in the back of their mind. And we don't want people to worry about that. So using the HELOC for those emergencies and combining them with the strategy, amazing. Accelerated payoff plans can restore that peace. It becomes a lifeline. So my client in this case's shoulders actually dropped. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize I could do that. I didn't realize those options were available to me. It was very noticeable. Sometimes I see the breathing is changing, the voice softens. There's just that inner peace that comes to the surface that, again, there's hope, there's possibility. And that's what it's all about. Not about perfection, not about the pressure, simply just the hope. And I wanted to go over some of those pros and cons from the HELOC perspective. So again, we're talking about this specifically. Number one, it's an emergency safety net without draining savings, and it's a short-term savings line. Number two, it protects you from those high-interest credit cards. That's definitely a smarter alternative. Number three, it automatically gets paid off when the home is sold, so there's no lingering burden. And then number four, of course, it's just a small portion of the equity. Most of the assets remain untouched. That's really great. And then number five, it's clear boundaries. It's emergency use only. It's not spendthrift. Oh, I have all this money sitting here. Let me go and spend. It's really taking it seriously and not using it and abusing it, using it for that strategy only. And number six, the algorithms are dramatically reducing any remaining debt, if there is, and incorporating this option is a long-term game changer. So now for the cons, the things that you really have to be careful of. And I say this with care and honesty, of course, because I know that it comes from a very sensitive place, but to know that these options are available is very empowering. The first thing is the home is collateral. It requires professional guidance. You don't just do this and take advantage. Again, it's very serious. Number two, it's to be used sparingly and it's to be used with a disciplinary approach. Number three, that the rates can change. You have to know all the legal jargon that goes along with this type of equity. You just need to know that sometimes the rates can adjust slightly, and it doesn't usually mean they're going to adjust a lot, but you just need to be aware of those things. And it's important to understand the terms that come along with it as well. Number four, it's not always a permanent solution. It's temporary. The algorithm, on the flip side, is actually a permanent solution. It's something that you can use for a very long time and you can mix and match with it. So that's, yes, the algorithm is thumbs up long-term, and then the HELOC is short-term. A HELOC is just one strategy. I cannot express that over and over again. It's one option. It's one pathway when everything else feels impossible. You're not alone. You're not stuck. You are not out of options. There are options. I absolutely love walking alongside because the clients are typically very happy when you give them some scenarios that could work for them. And I am honored to be part of that. And I do take it very seriously that they trust me and they ask for my advice. And it's so great to see that they feel just so much better and so much more free once we have that conversation. So if any of the things that I spoke with you about here resonates with you and you are in any of those situations, navigating maybe through retirement yourself, or you're working with some aging parents that need some guidance, or maybe you have some negative cash flow or really heavy debt, it's time to schedule your free discovery call with me. It could open up your eyes to new things. And if nothing else, you'll have that clarity. You'll have that ability to know exactly where you stand. I ask you for numbers only. We don't touch credit reports. We don't touch social security numbers or account numbers. It's simple numbers. And it's your story and it's your goals. So we talk about all of those things. We bring the options, the possibilities, and there is nothing to lose. I promise it's free. It really is. It usually would cost $200, but I offer it for free. And yes, the possibility to gain is everything. You can gain so much. Thank you for joining me here today at Fearlessly Debt Free. We're talking about taking those big, bold moves toward your abundant life. And I will see you again. Have an amazing day. And thank you for joining us. See you all soon.
We rise above. This is your moment. It starts with self-love. Big, bold moves, abundant life. Fearlessly debt free. Step into the light. One decision away.